Fab Dupont.
Good morning, children. How are you doing? Today we're going to talk about mixing. So who was here for the recording? Whoa. Okay. Who wanted to come here for the recording but thought it was Alan Parsons and then left when I showed up? No? Okay. So I came in yesterday. Could we have the Pro Tools screen on the thingies over there, please? Voila. So I came in and I color-coded on my tracks. Because I have the attention span of a dying moth, it's very important for me to know what is what. And I have a system. Because if you have a system, less thinking is involved. Thinking actually gets in the way of music, if you ask me. So, in green, the drums, because drums mean go. In red, the bass. It has nothing to do with blood or anything like that. It's just all my important things, which are bass and vocals and master, are always red. So if I have a track that has, say, 120 tracks, which happens, 120 tracks, I can look at the orange window, which is this window here, and I can spot that the top red track is my bass, the bottom red track is my mixing. Somewhere in the middle, there's a red track that's my vocal. Right? So, for example, I just did a song for the Rugby World Cup. Okay? It was 192 tracks. The reason why it was 192 tracks is because Pro Tools only has 192 tracks. If they had 512 tracks, they would have sent me 512 tracks of whatever it is that you can put on 512 tracks. So when you have 192 tracks, it takes a day to just listen to everything. Right? And so you don't want to have to listen to anything twice. No, no, no. So what you do is you listen to the thing and say, oh, I know what that is. And then you color it, and then you put a comment in the comment window that says, you already listened to that one, dude. Move on, right? And the coloring lets you really know where you are at all times in your session, which is very nice. So I strongly recommend you don't have to adopt mine, but I strongly recommend you adopt some sort of a coloring scheme. Okay, so that's what I came in to do last night. I came to color my tracks, organize everything, drums to the left, bass, guitars. There's no keyboard because it's a real band. And the vocal and everything. So now we have that. As a reminder, what we're doing here is we're building a quick studio. We built it with my crew who came from New York. We built it in like less than a day. So if you want to switch to the laptop so we can name the proud sponsors. So the proud sponsors of this was spearheaded by Dangerous Music, who makes the summing, the monitoring, and some AD queuing I'm using today, which is a brand that I use in my studio. Everything in my studio is Dangerous Music. It's also, I have a website called puremix.net where I do tutorials. Like if you like what you see and you want to see more of that, you can go to puremix.net. You can see more of those tutorials in the style of what you see. And then the other sponsors yesterday were Mojave and Royer for the microphones. So it's all Mojave and Royer microphones. Great River, preamps and EQs, Universal Audio preamps, compressors and EQs, Focal speakers, and I use Avid Pro Tools and Avid Pro Tools converters. So we have a song. What I did last night too is I printed the rough. It's great to have a rough. Why is that? Because mixing is all about perspective, and I can pretty much promise that you will lose perspective. No matter how good you are, and no matter how much you do this and how many times you've done it, you will lose perspective about 4 hours from now. If you start your mix now, 4 hours from now, that's when you start screwing up, on average, depending on the number of tracks. So considering we have an hour to mix this track, that's not going to happen. Yet, I still recorded the rough mix of what we did yesterday, and I think it's a good idea to just refresh our memories. I will skip. I'll just, let's listen to this song. It's a pretty song. This is the Will Knox Band, and it's called Cog in the Machine. And this is yesterday's recording.
I'm solid steel in scalding steam. I'm a cog in the machine. I'm sick and tired of the same routine, and I'm sinking like a submarine. Stopping clockwork is much harder than it seems. I'm setting free the cog in the machine. The machine. My belly boiled by.
It's pop music, so there's a second verse, which is the same melody as the first verse. Then the chorus comes back. It's so contrived. The first step in mixing is to try and develop a vision of what you want it to sound like. If this makes you happy, print it, send it out, right? Now, if you tell yourself, oh, well, the vocal is a little mid-heavy and it's a little flat and I don't hear the back wall, then the bass rings on that one note. I wish that the bass drum was a little louder when it hits this moment. Then you're ready to start mixing. But if you listen to the track and you have no idea of what to do with it, then mix is done. Move on, right? Don't start twiddling knobs because you have 700 plugins, of which you bought 3. At your disposal. It's important. It's all about projecting a certain vision. How do you develop the vision? You develop the vision by listening to music. The more that you listen to music, preferably different kinds of music, not just super heavy thrash metal, but also what super heavy thrash metal came from. So, and everything around that style, create your taste. Then you have a reference. You can tell yourself, okay, if you're listening to enough folk music and then enough modern pop music, I think the Will Knox Band is not really a folk band. They're definitely not a pop band. I don't hear oomps, oomps, oomps. So we have a folk writing sensibility with a kind of like an odd-shaped sonic imprint that's going to borrow from all those styles. I happen to listen to all those styles, so I have an idea how I want the vocal to sound, because I would like it to sound like the way the others sound, but with a little different thing in it. And then I have an idea of what the space should be, because that's kind of like, I have it in my head already. I already know what I want this to sound like in the end. So once you have your vision, you got to set your mix up. Today I'm going to show you analog summing. What analog summing is basically the way records have been made from the time they had consoles and tape machines up until somebody decided it was cool to make music with just a computer, right? So for that period of time, which is the period of time that most records we like come from. Then there was a brief period of time there for 10 years where people decided that it's totally cool to make music with computers and nothing else, and then everybody is wising up. So, what is analog summing? Imagine a 2-inch machine. Imagine, because they're no longer around, so you have to have good imagination. So imagine a 2-inch machine, and a console, those you see around, and then a 1/2-inch machine for printing. So you have a source, then you have the mixing apparatus, and then you have the recording apparatus. Everybody with me? All right. You sure? Okay. In the modern world, we use computers. There's no going back. They do what they do very well. But there's some things they don't necessarily do as well. And so that's why I personally work with analog summing. If you see in this phenomenal graphic, you see that the DAW is my source, audio tracks, bottom left, okay? I have 16 channels of audio coming out of my DAW, so you see the new Avid interface there. So 16 analog channels of music coming out of my DAW, getting into my analog summing box, in this case, a Dangerous 2 bus, which is the same thing I use at the studio. It's the same as having a 24-track machine, having 24 channels coming out into a Neve console, right? In this case, the 24-track machine is replaced by Pro Tools, and the Neve console is replaced by the analog summing box. Still with me? Right. Now, although Quad is a wonderful way to listen to music, so is 5.1, so is DTS 10.1. It's fun. But contrary to popular belief, we all listen to music on iPods and iPhones, so you need it to end up being 2 tracks, right? Stereo is a beautiful thing. Or mono if you're really, really old school. But nobody here just does mono. And so the dangerous 2 bus will sum those 16 channels of music and turn them into 2 channels of music that you can print and then go make it an MP3 and send it to the world. When you come out of the 2 bus, I get back into Pro Tools and I print that, just like somebody would print to a half-inch machine in the old days. And then you print it, and then you monitor it, so you have 2 channels, so you can listen. And for that, I use a Dangerous Monitor ST, which is the one with the sexy remote. It's okay to pet the remote at the end of the class. Okay, so that's the system I'm going to use right now. Source, summing, in this box here. Out of this box, back into the converter. Out of the converter, into my monitor section, into my focal speakers. The way I start a mix, usually, of course, unless it's instrumental, I will start with the vocal.